Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Today, over the next few minutes, I will show you why it is absolutely vital and absolutely crucial for you to protect the crown on your head, all right? So you don't want to miss this. So grab yourself some comfort food, notepad, pen, or pencil, sit back and relax. Welcome to Mountain of Inspiration. My name is Dimitri. Without a further ado, let's get right into it. The first king over France by the name of Clovis, so C-L-O-V-I-S, had this amazing ability to have a grand vision, not only for himself, but also for the kingdom he was actually called to rule over. And in doing so, he was trying to make sure that all the nobility or all the people, all the swordsmen who came out to actually pay allegiance to him will understand that this was a man of significance, this was a man that was actually ready to fight for his vision, and this was a man that wanted to protect the integrity of his vision and the integrity of his good name and the integrity that will be getting from the people and the respect beginning from the people around him. But at one point during his ascent to the top, he realized that he needed to actually take over one of the small kingdoms within that territory that was actually being ruled over by one of his cousins by the name of Ragnar. So Ragnaire. But that gentleman who was his cousin, unfortunately, was not as, how can I put it, as sold to the idea of defending the integrity of his vision. He was not sold to the idea of being a fierce protector of the crown over his head. What happened? At one point during a battle with the man that Clovis had sent to actually take over that piece of the land that was actually back in the day Tournai, so Tournai, he found himself surrounded. So Ragnar, as the king of Tournai, he found himself surrounded. Instead of fighting to death to protect the integrity of his vision, to protect the integrity of his good name, to protect all that he has sworn to actually represent as a king over Tournai, he decided to turn himself in and basically just give up. And what happened next is very crucial. So they bring Ragnar and his brother over to their cousin by the name of Clovis, who then, of course, this fearless and fierce competitor wanted to take over that land. So they bring him over. He was basically in chains and his hands over behind his back. So when they brought him in, he asked all the soldiers to actually just leave them alone, and he wanted to talk to them from person to person, family to family. And here's what he said to them: "How dare you bring humiliation to the house that we represent by allowing these people to actually bring you into captivity before me with your hands behind your back? How dare you bring such a calamity to the family? Don't you know that the family name means something? Why can't you fight to death with these people just to let them know that we are mighty warriors?" So he was upset with his cousin. So needless to say, he got rid of his cousin. Then he turned to the brother and said, "But you were the brother. You were supposed to protect your brother. You were supposed to protect the crown on your brother's head. You were supposed to protect the idea of supremacy that you represent. You were supposed to fight for the idea of leadership that you represent. You were supposed to fight for the integrity that we have built in terms of relationship with the people that we actually rule over. How did you let this happen? You should have actually fight for your brother. And because you didn't fight for your brother, I'm going to get rid of you too." That was example number one. Clovis, as you know, happened to be the first king over France, the one who actually set the tone as far as monarchy, the idea of monarchy is concerned in France. So over the next few years, there were many dynasties, many kings that actually came to actually rule over France, but all of them, they all embraced the idea of this kingdom in France, and they all came to represent the name of Clovis. Clovis, which is basically, from which then we have the name of Louis, because Clovis is basically another way of actually spelling Louis. From Louis, we then have Louis. And then from Louis, we then have the dynasty of the Bourbon. We have the Louis XIV, Louis XV, Louis XVI, and so on and forth. And the last dynasty that actually came to rule over France was, of course, the dynasty of the Bonaparte. But the Bonaparte did something that I'm sure even Clovis in his tomb was actually fuming over. What did he do? Napoleon III as he was trying to actually flex his muscle and let the world know that, yes, I represent the house of the Bonaparte. I'm also a strong man. I'm a mighty man. He made the mistake of actually engaging into war with the country that is now known as Germany. So with the House of Austria. So when he engaged in a battle with the House of Austria, he came to a place where in 1870 he lost. So when he realized that he had lost, instead of actually trying to find a way to actually to respect the idea of the monarchy, the idea of leadership that had been set by Clovis and fight to death, he decided to abdicate. Unlike his uncle by the name of Napoleon Bonaparte I, who actually basically fought to death in order for him to actually remain emperor of France, Napoleon III decided to abdicate. He went to Bismarck and he went to actually negotiate the terms of his surrender. So of course they let him actually walk away. But guess what happened? Even the people, even the subject of France were completely upset with this decision, and they despise the name of Napoleon III, and this shame that he had brought onto himself, the shame that he had brought onto the house of France, actually followed him. So to the point where very quickly after that he started developing what I would call today psychosomatic disease, and within 3 years after that he passed away in 1873. And the demise, or basically the debacle that is his tenure as a monarch over France, actually put France in the second position over in Europe, and it's a position that they had never recovered from since 1870. So from 1870 up until now, France had actually found himself playing second fiddle to other countries, but it never found itself in a place where it could be seen again as a leader over Europe. That was the first example. Last example. Third example, sorry. Why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because when we look at things like leadership, you may say to yourself, leadership, yes, leadership, it's a wonderful, but leadership is just an immaterial concept. It's a concept that we cannot see, we cannot touch, and so on and so forth. But allow me to simply say the following. The crown on your head is also immaterial. The crown on is something that we cannot touch, we cannot see, we cannot feel, we cannot smell, we cannot actually hear. However, we know that as soon as you start actually running with your idea, like Larry Page did when he actually received the idea of actually putting together this business idea that led to this phenomenon that is now known today as Google. Once you run with the idea, we realize that something intangible can lead to something tangible and can be something practical that's going to change people's life. And when you change people's life, it's not just a matter of actually ruling over people and being the king over people, the queen over people, but it also comes with a set of responsibilities. You have right, but you also have responsibility to protect the integrity of your vision, to protect the reputation of your company, and to protect, most importantly, your relationship within the community. Once you fail to do that, basically you abdicate and you give up the crown, and you're going to find yourself in a place of great shame, but just like Napoleon the third actually brought upon himself in 1870. Why am I saying all of this? And I'm going to close with this. We have to realize that at the end of the day, we are not physical beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. And what we see in the spirit, or the thing that we perceive in the spirit, are absolutely important, and they are things that we have to actually find a way to actually fight for. Because once again, I'm going to go back and say that the crown on your head is something that you have to fight for. It's something that you have to fight as if your whole life depended on it. You have to protect it, because from your crown, great things are going to come to pass. And as a matter of fact, it is the light. It is the light that you're carrying for the people around you. If you decide to actually give up on the light, you're going to let people around you plunge into a place of darkness. If you decide to give up on the crown that you have on your head, you're going to simply let the world plunge into a state of darkness and a state of chaos. And this is something that cannot happen, because you represent a state of excellence. You represent a certain level of light for the community around you and for the generation to come. So as much as possible, fight for your light, fight for your crown, fight for the identity that you represent as king and queen over this generation and the generation to come. All right? I'm going to stop you for now. Your assignment for today is very simple. 3 things that I'm going to kindly put on the table for you to consider. Number 1, find a way to actually sit down over the next few days and try to look at your vision. What is the vision as far as your business is concerned, as far as your life is concerned, as far as your relationship is concerned? What was your initial vision, and how are you actually keeping up as far as your vision is concerned? Is there there anything you can actually improve as far as your vision is concerned? And what are the steps you're going to take, practical steps you're going to take over the next few days to actually make sure that your vision is still on track? Number two, your reputation with the bank, your credit score. What are you going to, basically, where are you as far as your credit score is concerned? Is it where it's supposed to be, or is it basically also taking, unfortunately, it's a very sad turn as far as where it's supposed to be? What are you going to take to do practically? What are the steps you're going to take practically to address that? Last but not least, your relationship with the people. So how good is your name in the community? What are the steps you can take to actually mend certain broken relationship within the community? Or what step can you take to actually mend or create a proper relationship or the right bridges with the right people in the season to actually help you just prepare yourself to the next level or dimension as far as your life is concerned? All right? Again, keep your head up, because there's a crown you can afford to actually let slip and fall. All right? Thanks again for watching. Before I go, 3 things I'm going to kindly ask you to do. Number one, please make sure, don't smash, just hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button so that you can actually continue to actually receive more of the videos and the notification bell, so the next time we put together a video, you can be amongst the first one to see the video. Last but not least, again, as I said, consider your time I put on the table for you. Just make sure you actually consider protecting the integrity of your vision, protecting your good name with the banks, and protecting your good name or reputation with the people around you. Take practical steps to address that, and you're going to see how things are going to actually start changing for the better, because you know what? The crown on your head is simply the light of excellence. If you start paying attention to the light of excellence over your head, guess what's going to happen? It's going to actually shine brighter and brighter, and the results you're going to be getting are going to just to be growing and growing, and the weight of your legacy is going to grow exponentially. All right? Thanks again for watching. Looking forward to sharing more with you in the days to come. Until then, take good care, and remember, you are a king, you are a queen, and the best for you is yet to come. Take good care.